Hello, and welcome to a special on demand webinar from your friends here at AccuLynx. My name is Matt Morrison, and I'm one of the trainers here. And we like to put these webinars together and these presentations to present some ideas to you, give you some food for thought, and some things that maybe you can take back to your team, present to your friends, your coworkers, the boss, whoever, and maybe find some ways that can improve your operations, make your business more efficient, maybe more profitable, or just maybe more pleasant to work around. So the topic of today's presentation is four ways to better manage your roofing crews using technology. I got some cool things to show you, and hopefully you'll stick around to the end to see everything we've got to offer and to talk about. So first, just a little introduction. I mean, who the heck are we, right? And what are these ideas that we've got? Where are we coming from? So AccuLynx is really the leading all-in-one business management software designed specifically for the roofing industry. We were founded over a decade ago when we realized that there was really a big gap in the market for software that spoke the language of roofers, people like you, right? There were some softwares out there that were just massive CRMs for just general sales organizations. You can think of your sales forces and things like that out there. And there were certainly some pieces of software that were designed for big, massive engineering firms that might do massive projects like a hotel build from the ground up and those types of things. But when it came to companies that were dealing in relatively simple scopes of work, even though sometimes they may not feel that way, but compared to building a hotel, relatively simple scopes of work, there really wasn't anything out there. And so AccuLynx really was developed as the first all-in-one system specifically designed for the roofing industry. And we're really proud to say at this point that there are thousands and thousands of contractors across the country that use AccuLynx every day to run their business, to manage their what I like to call manage their chaos, and to just be more efficient and have more visibility into what's going on in their operations. And we've won awards over the years for both the software, for the ease of use and the satisfaction and so forth, but also for the team and the culture that we've built here that's really centered around finding and bringing on people that are passionate about helping people like you find success. And speaking for myself personally, that's really one of my main driving factors here is that AccuLynx gives me the opportunity to impact people and hopefully help you guys rather find some success in what you do in your day-to-day lives. So, according to roofingcontractor.com, there's been an increase in storm activity of 125%. That's a huge increase in things that are impacting your customers. And 41% of the homeowners that they surveyed are looking to schedule a roofing project soon. That is going to be a huge jump in the number of people out there that need services that you can provide. And 55% of the roofing labor force that are out there identify as people either that are crew members, so they're the ones swinging a hammer, moving shingles around, those types of things, or they're subcontractors. So maybe you're subbing some of your labor out. Either way, you've got crews out there that are going to have to perform this work. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is some of the ways that maybe you can communicate with them a little bit better. So, look, really managing those crews is a critical part of your operations. You may have foremen on every single job out there. Maybe you've got to have some guys that jump around. And I've run into some companies that, basically let their crews kind of do some things on their own, work a little bit more autonomously. And regardless, really, of how you're managing your crews, there are some things that you're going to have to be concerned with, like scheduling your crews or the schedules changing, right? Schedules change all the time due to weather or jobs running along or other logistical challenges. Communicating with them, staying in touch with them if there's a change in the scope, if there's a change in what they need to do, when they need to be there, where the materials are at, those types of things. And look, also vice versa, them being able to communicate with you if they run into challenges and they need some guidance on what's going on out there. Right. And then, of course, documenting things. In some places, you need to document what you did, what you saw, what you observed. If you get involved with any insurance company based work, you may need to document that there was an additional layer of shingles, as an example, and you need to take good photos of that so that you can file a supplement and make sure that you get compensated for the extra work and disposal and everything else that goes into that. So let's look at four ways that technology can help you manage your crews and some of the ways that we talked about. First of all, try this strategy. Try looking for tools and technology that can provide you with a shared production calendar. Okay. The idea here is that instead of just having a calendar that only your people, your sales reps, or your office managers can see, maybe it's hanging on a wall somewhere, or maybe it's a Google Calendar or an Outlook calendar or something like that. Instead of having something where only they can see, look for some options that might allow your crews to access that information as well, where they can be notified when a job is scheduled or when a job is changed, right? Ideally, when you schedule or change things, there'll be some automations in play because look, those little changes can, it's easy to move something on a calendar, and just as you're about to pick up the phone and tell the crew some emergency happens, someone comes into your office with a problem that you've got to solve, and it's easy for those things to get forgotten. And that's a really good way for a crew to not show up where they're supposed to be, or vice versa, to show up where they're not supposed to be, right? And then, of course, along with that, we want to make sure that to both our internal people as well as those crews, they know about the labor and the material orders. They know what they're supposed to do, and that way, even if somebody gets involved with an order that's maybe not dedicated to the production team, that could be an office person, somebody who answers the phone, who winds up on the call with, or on the phone rather, with a customer or a crew or a supplier. Maybe the production person's out of the office or they're on the other line. Being able to allow anybody and everybody who needs to look at this information to see what's going on and not just have it sitting in a folder that's on one person's desk can be vital to just working more effectively and allowing more people to be able to be clued into the situation or into what's going on out there in that job. Number two, think about collaborating through mobile applications. Look, most of us have smartphones in our hands these days. You run into the occasional guy who's still rocking a flip phone, but most everybody's got an iPhone or an Android phone or something like that in their pocket, and they live and breathe and die by that thing sometimes, right? So being able to collaborate through a mobile application allows people that are in the field to work with people that are maybe in a separate location if they can't be on the job site together. And this could be things like sending and receiving photos. Again, if there's a problem that the crew rather runs into, if there's something they have a question about, or maybe again, they just need to document that they did things a certain way. Being able to send and receive those photos through an application can be super handy as opposed to just texting them and having them sit in someone's text inbox along with 45 other photos from jobs that we can't remember always what they are and so forth, right? Being able to keep all of your messages in one place. I see so many people that use iMessage on their iPhone or WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger and so forth. And the problem is that you wind up with one thread with one crew, but it's about 25 or 30 jobs over the course of a month or two or three or whatever it is, right? And then you've got a question about the job you did 3 weeks ago. And what do you have to do? Scroll, 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 scroll. Come on, where's that photo? I know it's in here somewhere. Scroll, 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 until you finally find the photo or the message or whatever it is. And so, if there's any way that you can have communication that goes on a job by job basis, that can make it easier for both the crew to send and find information. And then, of course, you on the receiving end, maybe to send and find that information as well. And if there's any way to include checklists, right? Provide checklists. Don't just assume that your crews know what to do. One of the in my background in the industry as myself, one of the things that always made me cringe is when you hear somebody getting in an argument saying, "Well, it was obvious they were supposed to do something." And look, what's obvious to you isn't always obvious to the next person. Obviously, if it were, we wouldn't be screaming, "It's obvious," right? So the whole idea is to have checklists. Make sure that the crews know what's expected of them, especially if there's any special situations or conditions going on out there. If you guys do get involved with storm-based work or insurance work, right? You know that it's quite common that the insurance adjuster or the insurance company may not have approved a replacement of every thing on a job site, whether that's every slope or every vent or every window screen or even every building for that matter. And so being able to have checklists and instructions to your crew so that it's very clear about what they're supposed to do and where they're supposed to go or maybe what they're not supposed to do can make sure that there's just an efficient process there. The customers get what they expect as well as the internal office as well. Think about using a CRM, right? There are tons of softwares out there that specialize in the roofing industry. Of course, that's one of the things that we do as well. But having a CRM allows you to store information and communication in one place, right? It gives your office, your administrative team, right, one central location to find comments, to find notes, to find photos, and establishes a process that helps everybody work on the same platform. In my background, look, I used to use paper folders. I used to use Excel spreadsheets. I used to have, email inboxes, but like everybody around the office would put their folder together a little bit of a different way, or they would make notes in a different place, or they sometimes you just couldn't read their handwriting, right? Or they'd put, documents in one place, or God forbid somebody picks up and takes the folder out to the field and you're in the office going, oh my God, where's the Johnson job, right? I need some information there, or vice versa. You're in the field and you need information about the Johnson job and you don't have it, right? So having a CRM allows your administrative and your managerial and your sales team, of course, all to have information in one centralized place. And then using your data to keep your crews accountable, right? Things like tracking crew KPIs. How many jobs do you send a crew out to? How many did they perform for you? Sometimes crews want to get paid more. It might be handy to see how many jobs did they perform for you? Maybe how long did those jobs take? Or did one crew have a really high propensity towards punch out work or go backs or problem repairs versus another? That type of information can help you make informed decisions about which crews are your best and maybe which crews you got to go help them find somebody else to go work for, right? Or how about this? You can share data with the crew so they can make adjustments if they need to, based on, again, changes to the scope, changes to the conditions of the job, or just the schedule, right? Um, so those are four strategies, four ideas that we've observed that some of the key contractors out there are using, the most successful ones are using to manage their crews and to stay on top of things. And ultimately, look, what this is all about, we might think it's all about efficiency. We might think it's all about productivity. We might even think it's all about making money, but really it's all about serving your customers, serving your community, right? Setting expectations and then meeting, or maybe even ideally exceeding those expectations. And so much of that comes down to making sure that the person that's going to swing the hammer or perform the work is knows what the person who promised things to the customer said and did and agreed to, right? So being able to communicate back and forth and provide excellent service and to our customers, to our community is really what this is all about. So look, it was as a result of looking at these challenges and these problems that we saw out there that we developed what we call our mobile crew application. It's a dedicated application that allows your crews in the field to receive and send information to and from your CRM, but while still allowing you some measure of control over what they do and don't see. So they don't get to see your contracts and they don't get to see all that kind of stuff. They just get to see the information that you need them to, like the location or the scope or things along those lines. It's really an easier way to collaborate with crews and get everybody on the same page because you're not working in disparate apps. You're not using Google Calendar here or iCal or whatever, along with WhatsApp, along with iMessage, along with something to take photos with, along with all these other various things. It's one application that lets you collaborate and coordinate with your crews, right? So what it allows you to do is to coordinate your crews, schedule when they get scheduled, they can see what's going on. If they get rescheduled to a new day, they can see what's going on. And if you take them off that job altogether, well, they just don't see that job anymore. You don't have to worry about them not reading the email that took them off the job or somebody not being able to get a hold of somebody. And it gives you an easier way to collaborate with your crews, right? The mobile crew app is designed to help you coordinate with your crews, right? So if you schedule them on a job, they get notified. If the job gets rescheduled because of rain or some other delay, they get notified. And if you decide that that crew's no longer going to perform that work, well, they get notified. And of course, the crew or the information about that job is no longer in the application. So you don't have to worry about a crew not getting an email or a text and not catching wind that they weren't supposed to go out there, or still seeing this thing in their inbox, confusing them because now they don't know if they're supposed to go to job A or job B. It gives the entire team the information they need to do the job. So the crews can see a scope of work and photos and documents and all those kinds of things. And then, of course, they can know what's going on out there. Now, on the inside, you can know what's going on because your crews can check in on a job and they can take photos and those types of things. So you get a lot of accountability both ways and the ease of communication, like we were talking about before. So, really, what's different about this, right? I kind of mentioned some of these things before, but look, you don't need to log in and out of separate apps. You don't need to worry about sharing this calendar with that person or this inbox or those types of things. You don't need to worry about giving them access to some photo app over here, some scheduling app over there, some Dropbox thing over here, iMessage, again, like we talked about having strings of text messages. Those crews are automatically notified about their assignments and any changes. They get their work orders as soon as it's assigned. You don't need to text them or email them or print them or hand it over to them or whatever. The photos that they take or the photos that you choose to share with them, those things can automatically be uploaded to the job file inside of your system. It communicates with the crews in English and Spanish. It's got a translation matrix in there. So if you type in a message in English, it'll come through in Spanish on the other end, and vice versa, if that's the way they choose to do things. And of course, it allows you to share checklists for your crew. So they know what's going on, and you can see when they complete those things. It's a real time checklist on both sides.